We are here today at the ICE protest in downtown Norfolk, Virginia. We're here with, what's your name, sir? If you mind sharing.
Jay?
Jay. So what is your stance on the issue? Why are you here today?
Democracy. I'm pro-democracy. I'm anti-fascism.
Anti-fascism. And you believe that the current administration, the way things are currently going, is anti-democratic. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Can you help me understand this position? What about it is an infringement on freedom and things like that?
What the current administration is doing?
Yeah, or the movement as a whole, or what ICE is doing. I'd love to hear your thoughts and how you came to this conclusion.
No due process.
No due
So
process.
that's born into our Constitution, which is the basis for democracy in this country. And this current administration has done seemingly everything in its power to rip that apart.
Right.
And so that's what I'm here, because history is repeating itself. If people aren't here to stand up for what's been ripped from us, who will?
Exactly. So let's say we succeed and we successfully stand up for the people who aren't able to stand up for themselves. What does it look like afterwards? Is it everybody that was in danger of being deported stays? What does that look like afterwards?
This is such untraversed ground as far as the legality and all of that goes.
Right.
I'm here in support of peace in general and democracy in general. I'm not going to pretend to be a lawyer who knows the ins and outs of all that things. Every human being on earth deserves human rights and to be treated like a human. And that's all. That's simply all that I'm here asking for.
That honestly seems like all-encompassing. I think you did a great job. Thank you so much for sharing.
No problem.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that I said in there that I would. You could plaster it all over the internet. That type of shit. I'm proud to stand up for. So
I appreciate you, brother.
yeah, no problem. Y'all have a good one.
You too. So I'm actually, due to my sound setup, I prefer you on this side. Is that okay?
All right, sure.
Okay. And if you're ready, I'm ready.
All right, I'm ready.
So what is your name to start off with, actually?
I'm Oliver.
Levi. Nice to meet you, brother.
Nice to meet you.
So today is June 14th, 2025. We're at a protest in downtown Norfolk about the ICE raids and how the current administration is handling illegal immigration. And we're here with Oliver. So I'd love to understand why you're here and what you're passionate about.
So I'm here because ICE is doing horrible things to people. Kidnapping. I saw like a video of them doing a hit and run. That was awful. They've been just hurting people unnecessarily. Those Australian news reporters, it's really bad because like they're getting like gashes, wounds over their face, their legs, yeah. And I really just don't stand for that.
Okay. So I think a more broader question, do you believe that ICE or even the current administration in power, do you believe they're solving a real issue, or is there no issue to solve to begin with?
Well, currently, I mean, we're on stolen land here.
Right.
Everyone should be legal.
So what about, so I know the other side of the conversation, the opposition would say that there's criminals coming from other countries, it's a danger, it's a matter of law and order. Do you push back against those claims, or do you think there's no danger, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are that they aren't deporting people because they're doing anything against the law. They're deporting them because, sorry.
You're doing good.
Yeah, they're deporting them because they're just from another country. They're not from here.
I think you did great, brother. I appreciate you.
All right.
What does your sign say?
Huh?
No more kings. Gotcha.
Yeah, let's go ahead, rock.
Black Mark and a family split apart. I will not serve a king. I will serve no king. I will serve no king. But we stand here today united. We stand here today an assemblage of Virginians, of citizens, patriots, and the ones who see humanity's fearful past and say, we will not go back! We are Virginians!
We just heard a speech by, Mom, your name?
My name is Devin Randall, or D.S. Randall.
Okay.
Throughout history, we've seen autocrats and other just grabs for power. Just throughout history, we've seen it with Turkey and Armenia. We've seen it with Germany and the Jews, and we've seen it countless other ways, basically all of South America, African colonization. This is such a common factor within humanity and within the world that people want power and they'll take anything that they can get. And I think the whole point is that America was founded on something more than that, and we haven't always done it right. But I believe that we have a spirit as a people, and we have a rebellious spirit, and I don't think America would ever want to stand, at least in my mind, would ever want to stand for, third terms or just the ridiculous, like, one man's word is law kind of ideal. That's not what America's all about.
Absolutely. So I love what you said about America having almost like a personality per se, like a rebellious spirit. And I do remember when you were speaking, you were quite critical of what's going on, but you kept on saying over and over again how you do love our country. You have pride for our country, but you think we're on the right track.
I love this country.
Okay, so can you expand on maybe the love for the country that may stand in opposition to what many people may believe is negativity towards our country?
I think one thing that I felt a lot growing up was just reading history books in school, and I just remember reading about the civil rights movement and reading about the American Revolution and just all these struggles for liberty and freedom. And I think that struggle is core to our nation, and I think it's so much of everything that we've built up so far, like in popular culture. So much of popular culture is about, rising up through, hardship and struggle and personal struggle and systemic struggle. And it's all about trying to become the most fully realized, best versions of ourselves. And I believe that it's something that we have every right to stand for, and every person should, have that ability to live their truth.
Okay, so one more question, because I know we got a lot going on here.
Thank you.
But I imagine that a lot of the other side of this argument is claiming that there's a real issue to solve. Are you claiming there's no issue to solve, or that there's a different way it could be solved?
I think that there's no reason in our common day and age, there's no reason that we have so many resources as a country, and we have so much influence and so much power, and the world it seems to always be, looking at us, or at least keeping their eye on us as America. And I don't think that there's a need for this kind of conflict. I believe that there has to be a way where we can put human lives first, and we can put empathy first, while still maintaining structure and still maintaining the rules. I don't see how splitting families apart and telling certain types of people that they're just lesser than. I don't think there's any need for that, especially where we are in the country. I feel like that we should be at a point in society where we can see that we're all in this together, and that we're all going to die one day. We're all going to die one day, and the power won't carry on into whatever happens after that. So we need to be kind to each other and hold on together, because we're all here together.
We're here with, who do we have?
Pat O'Donnell.
Pat O'Donnell. Okay. So could you explain perhaps, so I'm realizing now that's not actually Kim Jong-un. It's Donald Trump looking like Kim Jong-un.
It's just an AI merger.
It is done fairly well. So can you help me understand the comparison between Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un?
Well, it is an exaggeration,
Okay.
clearly, but we're very concerned about the what I consider the disdain for the rule of law, primarily. He is not conducting himself according to statutes, the Constitution, and long-standing practice, Supreme Court precedent. And so that's primarily, to me, the biggest risk, is that we have a president who is essentially lawless or purposefully exceeding the law and testing the courts, which have so far, to my great relief, been a bulwark in the country for standing up for the law.
Okay.
And I just hope that we respect what the courts have done and are doing. And a lot of the lawyers who are fighting, lawyers get a bad rap, but lawyers in this case are fighting a good fight And we're just hoping to come out here and bolster that fight, because if the rule of law goes, that's it. That's what stands between us and a dictatorship like Kim Jong-un. I'm not. This is hyperbole.
But the hyperbole got the interview. You know what I mean?
Well, the hyperbole is a warning, I
Right.
suspect. It's a warning. If we do not pump the brakes or slam on the brakes, then we are headed in an extraordinarily dark direction, and that's where we do not want to go.
Okay, so I do like what you said about not just applying pressure to the brakes, but slamming on the brakes. So compare that to what's going on right now with the administration. What does slamming on the brakes look like in this
Well,
regard?
slamming on the brakes, he does seem to react to public pressure. He's just recently he's backing off some of his roundups of undocumented people because his farmer base is up in arms.
Right, yeah.
And look, if they were serious, if this wasn't theater, you'd be arresting the employers. You'd be dragging them in. If you wanted to send a message, are these people?
Who's benefiting, and also like it's also more efficient because it's a smaller group of people with a whole lot more documentation to follow.
Many. If you got arrest a bunch of farmers or hotel operators and restaurant chain presidents,
Okay.
that's going to do what running through the fields, getting people picking lettuce, that's going to get a lot more attention. So to me, this is more a theater for the purpose of telling people self-deport.
Okay. A theater for telling the world to self-deport. Okay. One more question then. Do you think there's a real problem that Trump is attempting to solve, even if he's doing a horrific job at doing it? Is there a real problem that he's trying to solve?
Well, I would have given him credit for, but if he was actually pushing true immigration reform. But to me, that's not what he's doing. If you wanted immigration reform, you have to address the fact that we have the right to anybody crosses legally or illegally to get an asylum hearing. All right. Well, if you're going to get rid of that, then in order to get that, you'd have to give up some other things about, allowing more people or allowing this or that. You would have what we did have, that omnibus immigration bill, right? Well, he was the one who put the kibosh on that being approved because it was going to be approved. It was headed for approval, I should say. And then he was threatening any Republican who voted for it. And so they withdrew support for that. If he was actually working with Congress toward an omnibus, even-handed immigration reform, which I think has to be done at some point, then okay, I could credit his motive. But he didn't do that. He'd worked against that, and now he's chasing farm workers through fields and arresting them and dragging people out of their house, people who show up for their immigration hearings as they're required to do. So they've been in the country a long time. They're playing by the rules.
Not something that's been here for a couple of weeks or just.
They're grabbing you out of the immigration hearing. They're grabbing you out of your court hearing. They're grabbing you out of renewing your address, going down there. So they're grabbing, those people are law-abiding people. They've been here a long time often, in most cases. So if you ran on getting rid of criminal illegal aliens, that's not these people. This is just a wholesale roundup. And that's why I can't credit his motives.
Thank you for sharing, brother. Appreciate you. Mind if we get a close-up of your sign? I appreciate you, brother.
Sure.
Good work. We're here with Mitchell, and he's passionate about this subject. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. I'm really glad to be out here. I'm glad to see so many people out here today. Honestly, I want to see as many people as possible. I want to see if we can all get really loud, get really noticed today. I definitely am. I'm a veteran myself, and I don't support the parade at all. I can't believe that we're doing that with our resources that should be going to other places that we're making cuts to right now. Right. Completely insane. And yeah, I just think that it's time to come out. It's time to get out on the streets and
time to step up and make a change.
Absolutely.
So one thing that I've noticed is a common theme here, something I've heard from the other side of this argument, is that people that are critical of the current administration, what's going on, hate the country. But I see many people here holding the American flag and proudly saying that we love America. Can you add some clarity perhaps to this subject?
Absolutely. That couldn't be further from the truth. I know that really I mean, if you look around, there is so much pride for the country. I mean, we've got people young and old coming out, just all walks of life, and I just sincerely, like, I'm coming from a place of truly loving my country and wanting the best for everyone that's here. And there's so much callousness and hatred in the behavior that the administration is wreaking out on people, and it's just the wrong way to handle really being an American.
So I have another question then. So I would say that this is where there's some ambiguity in the movement, is that a lot of people still believe that there is a problem that's trying to be solved by the administration, but it's done poorly. So do you believe there's no problem, or there is a problem, but it's being addressed poorly?
There's definitely problems in the country. Usually the framing of how the problem is being talked about is used to benefit people instead of actually solve the problem. It's used to turn a profit. It's used to evacuate power up to the top, and we're not actually solving problems. There's not like a real right and left or a real multi-party system where we're working to solve problems. We're just really being hijacked every time we actually get close to solving a problem, and we're just handing away power to people.
So a lot of people on both sides of this argument are putting blame on one or the other. Do you believe there is a specific party or a specific person that deserves most of this blame, or is it a collective effort?
It's definitely a collective effort. I think that blaming just Donald Trump wouldn't make sense, because it took a lot of people pushing for a long time to get him to where he is today. I think we need to, personally, I think we need to look at our international adversaries who invested in particular people, honestly, from both parties, pushing us towards these extremes. There are really polarizing issues, and there are certain people that have been trying to highlight those particular issues and make them more complex, more confusing than they actually are.
That seems like a common tactic, just to keep people, sorry, is to keep people confused.
Absolutely.
Could you elaborate on one of those polarizing issues and where there's a lack of clarity?
Absolutely. So, one of the best ones, I guess, is really like the diversity in the force. Like the idea that having, like force, I mean like military, government, anything where merit is a real concern. This idea that we've watered down our like capabilities, our military capabilities, just because we've added in equality for women or for people of different sexualities, different gender identities. This stuff doesn't matter at all for your ability to fight. As somebody who's been in the military, has seen how a unit operates, like this stuff is meaningless distraction for any of that, and it's been used as just like a reason to completely cut out women and black men of color, and black and brown people completely from the force. I mean, it's just an excuse. And it's a polarizing issue because people have these ideas about fairness with like sports and things. So it moves through different walks of life where they actually, have some idea of what would be fair, and these commentators, broadcasters, radio hosts, they prey on that. They know exactly what that first reaction is going to be, and they load it up.
They want to take an extreme and try and push it, and that's all the world sees. But,
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you, brother.
Glad to be here.
Would your friend like to say anything? Would you like to say anything? Only if you'd like, no pressure.
Oh, no, I'm okay.
Okay, got it.
Well,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being out here.